All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are located. My name is Alan Whitehouse, and I am with True Sky, and I'm going to be giving you the presentation about compensation planning with True Sky. Before we get going too far, just a couple housekeeping kind of items here. First of all, if you're interested after this presentation is done, if you want to share it with someone else, we will be sending you a link to the recording of this webinar that we do. Right now, all of your phones are on mute, and that's just to keep background noise down as we do the presentation. If you have a question, go ahead and type it into the GoToWebinars question box, and then we will answer them at the end. Okay, so we're going to answer them at the end, unless it's something that pops up that's really pertinent or explain something needs explanation at that point. If you're having problems hearing, seeing things, use the chat box. We have somebody monitoring this, and they will do their best to help you. When you leave, please take a moment and complete the exit survey. It's just one of those little things, probably takes you about 15 seconds. It just helps us get better at what to present and so forth. Now, we're going to start here with a poll question, just so I kind of get an idea of what people are doing today. So if you could take a second and just answer the poll that you're seeing up on screen, which is basically, we're curious as how you're handling your compensation budgeting today. What is the main tool that you're using to manage your compensation planning? So we'll give this just for a second. And then we will go back and start, go into the rest of it. It just helps you know where to gauge things. All right, we'll give just another 10, 15 seconds for people to chime in here. All right, well, thank you for that. We got a good portion of you answered. The overwhelming majority of you are using Excel as the primary tool. That's kind of traditional in line with what we see here, but I just wanted to confirm that so I know kind of how to present this as we go forward. All right, so let's talk a little bit about why you need some form of application to help you with your compensation planning. And again, some of this might pertain to not just compensation, but financial or revenue forecasting or what have you. Well, all of you, or a majority of you, were using Excel as your tool. And as you all are aware, the reason that is because Excel is a very powerful tool. It's really flexible. It allows you to model any real business process that you can think of. You can do some really complex calculations, and compensation is one of those areas where you will have complex calculations, especially if you're doing, benefits where you've got, or taxes where you've got caps and limits and stuff like that on it. It's got a rich, presentation layer on top of it, and it has a really good high user adoption rate when you roll it out. People know it and so forth. But Excel isn't perfect. It's really not a database, right? It's not designed to do long-term storage and analytics on your data. You get a lot of manual steps to get data into it. You don't really have any workflow related to using Excel, right? So how do you do approvals and rejections and track who has said these numbers are okay? You don't have any audit trails. So as your numbers change over time, you don't really know who made the change or when. Ultimately, you've got multiple versions of the truth. Which of these two documents is the right version that we should be using, because they've got different numbers. And Excel can be fairly error prone. In fact, some studies have shown that 90% of all spreadsheets contain errors, right? So it's almost guaranteed that if you were to open up any spreadsheet that you've got on your computer right now, odds are there'd be an error in it someplace. Now, some of these errors are mostly minor, but sometimes they can be quite substantial. So, look at what happened to, say, JP Morgan. They lost $6 billion due to copy and paste, right? Fidelity was off by 2.6 billion because of a minus sign. kind of thing, right? So it is very easy to have errors in Excel, and those errors can be meaningful to your organization. So why should you look at an application like TrueSky? Well, it allows you to focus on the high value items rather than the drudgery of budget preparation, right? So how do we do that? Well, we kind of help 3 different user groups within your organization. The first group we help is what we call contributors. Those are the people that are putting in numbers, the frontline entry people that are, in the case of compensation, maybe they're putting in what the raises are going to be, who's going to get a performance bonus this year, do we need more people in this position, whatever the case. Well, we make it go quicker for them, and we reduce the effort and reduce the time, right? We make it easier for them. When it comes to the finance group, who is usually ultimately, at the end of the day, in charge of managing this process, we're going to decrease the administration overhead that you have to manage a budget cycle, especially for compensation, and hopefully increase the quality of the numbers that you're getting back in. And then when it comes to the decision makers, the final consumers of all this information, we're going to get them meaningful information that's going to help them reduce risk and avoid surprises. So again, we have a positive impact on a lot of different areas of your organization. Well, what were some of the key pillars when we designed TrueSky? Well, the first one of those is that we wanted to continue to leverage Excel, right? And it's just a little weird that, after I showed you all these problems with Excel, why we would want to leverage Excel. Well, we really believe that Excel is the best end user interface for doing any kind of budgeting and planning process that you can think about. And I'm going to show you some of those reasons right now. So why did we do that Excel, right? Well, it has rapid user adoption. Your people know it already. They're not going to push back when you put a solution out that is using Excel at the front end. Because of that, you're also going to have minimal training. Excel has an incredible depth and breadth of functionality in it, right? This is a product that is over 30 years old. Microsoft has literally spent billions of dollars in R&D on this product, and it really can't be matched for what it can do. It's got a great ease of use, and it's really flexible. Now, what we've done is we've added a huge number of enhancements around this. We've centralized your data. We've added control, things that you don't have in Excel, but you still get to leverage all of your knowledge. So it's a very quick way to get up and going with a structured solution. Well, what were some of our other pillars? Well, one of those was to be able to empower the finance group, to be able to let you control the budgeting and forecasting process with minimal to no reliance on your IT resources. So what are some of the things that we provide? Well, one, we centralize your data store. No longer do you have all your data in 1,000 different Excel workbooks. It's all in a central database. Enter in one format, report on another. We give you complete audit trails, so you'll always know how your numbers changed over the course of time. We provide not only application security, but data security as well. So certain people, in the case of compensation, they may not be able to see certain employees' salaries, but they can see other employees' salaries. When it comes time to roll up your budgets into your final comprehensive budget, we do automatic real-time merging of your data. No, linking of spreadsheets, no trying to consolidate them, get them all back through email. We take care of all that. We give you direct integration to your data sources. And thanks to TrueSky, we're going to promote accountability throughout your organization. And because we have our build once design within TrueSky, your amount of overhead to maintain a budgeting cycle, to create your input sheets and your reports is going to drop dramatically. Well, what is our final pillar? Well, we were there to help facilitate knowledge within your organization, right? So how do we do that? Well, one, we allow you to easily involve more people in the budgeting and forecasting process, right? More people that may be closer to the action, that know their little piece of the puzzle the best. So you kind of spread the workload and you get better quality information. And that can all be used, that kind of shared knowledge can use to get you better numbers. We allow you to capture qualitative and quantitative information. So not just the numbers, but the thoughts behind the numbers. We give you the ability to do deep dive analysis. Because of some of our tools and controls, you're going to get increased accuracy. And you're not going to just get numbers out at the end of the day, you're going to get decision level information. Well, what are some of the things that you can do with TrueSky? Well, although today we're talking about compensation planning, These are all the other things that TrueSky can be used for. It might be used for financial budgeting, sales or revenue forecasting, expense capture, operational planning, CapEx planning, project cost, or project revenue forecasting, right? When it comes to reporting and analytics, you can report on any data that we have in the system. We can give you real-time budget status, presentation quality reports, including income statements, balance sheet, cash flows, variance analysis reports, in the case of compensation, headcount, and FTE type reports, as well as dashboards and KPIs. So what are some of the things when it comes to compensation? Some of the things that we allow you to do. Now, we are a very, very, very configurable solution that can be configured. And the key word there is configured, not customized. We're not ever writing custom code. It's all configuration that can be done specifically for you. So we support the concept of budgeting by individuals or by position. So you can go all the way down to the individual level, or you can just budget a position. We allow you to calculate things for things like salary, hourly wages, bonuses, commissions, more than that. Do taxes and benefits, either in detail or summary. So maybe you just want to take, we're just going to take the salary, multiply it by 22% and call it a day. Or maybe you want to go down for each individual tax, each individual benefit, calculate those numbers exactly, including all the caps and the limits. We can do that as well. We allow you to budget for existing or new hires as well, so budgetary hires while you're doing it, giving you the ability to adjust for things like start and end dates, and even when you're trying to use this to get to cash flow, how many different pay periods you're going to have per month, because that ultimately affects your numbers. We're going to give you direct integration to your HR and payroll system, if allowed. I know people are always very touchy about the concept of HR and payroll, so some systems don't allow it, but if you want to allow us to integrate directly, we can do it. If not, we can integrate from flat files, which is probably what you have to do anyhow when you're doing things like an ADP, a Ceridian, any kind of payroll provider. So we support all of those different kinds of integrations. And if you're also using TrueSky for financial budgeting to do your income statement, balance sheets, and so forth, we can feed this information that's done at the detailed compensation level automatically up to your financial model. So you can do all this information comprehensive in one area. So with that, I'm going to stop with the slides and I'm going to show you an overview of TrueSky compensation. Now, again, I'm not going to show you everything TrueSky can do. In fact, I'm probably going to only show you maybe 20% of the stuff TrueSky can do today. There's a whole ton of other stuff that we can do, but I'm going to focus just on compensation for today. So up on screen right now, you're all seeing Excel. So one of the things from an end user point of view, users only ever have to go into one interface. There's a lot of other budgeting and forecasting applications that are out there, but they require you to go into multiple different user interfaces to manage the process. From us, it's only one. When you turn on TrueSky, you're going to get an add-in that looks like this in Excel. So here's the TrueSky add-in, right? Now, again, we're seamless within Excel. A couple things that I want to point out. If you are an organization that has multiple language requirements, or a language that your primary language for where you operate is not English, we support that with TrueSky. But most of how a user is going to interact with TrueSky is off of this button right here that's called the hub. The hub is a central area where an end user goes to do what they need to interact with within the TrueSky environment. So right here, you can see a couple different tabs: assignments and reports. Assignments are input sheets. It's how you get data into the system. And reports are just that, the ability to slice and dice and report your data, but you can't edit it. As an example, under my financial statements, I have 3 different financial reports that I have access to. And under my annual budget cycle, I have to work on office expenses and travel expenses. And for compensation planning, I have an input task called compensation planning. This is what I see when I log in to TrueSky. When another user logs in, what they're going to see is going to be completely different. Everything we do in TrueSky renders itself for the individual user based on their security settings and what an administrator has published. So again, making it very user-friendly. Now, a couple of things that I'm going to focus on here under compensation planning. We give you control of things like start and end dates. So people can't start working on the budget until you allow them to start working on it. More importantly, you can lock them out from making changes once the budget cycle is done. So you don't have to worry about random changes happening after you thought the budget was locked down. We have complete version control. You can make unlimited different versions of your budget. And again, this all gets tailored to your organization based on your requirements. We also have a workflow approval engine built into TrueSky that allows you to route your numbers through various levels of approval. So you can have a department manager put in their numbers for compensation as an example, and they could route to, say, the HR and payroll department for approval, and then it could route to a division head for further approval after that. So again, you've got that ability to track all of the approval, things that you don't get with just straight Excel. Now, what I've already gone ahead and done is I've opened up my assignment for compensation planning. And what it's done is it's gone out to the server and it's rendered a template specifically for me and what I've allowed to see and to work with, including things like what data I can enter, what I can edit, what I can't edit, and so forth. So traditionally, we give you the ability to control what people work with, and there's different steps. So you give an instruction tab at the very start. But what I'm going to start with is usually what's the first step in the process. And this is getting in all of your tax and benefit rates and amounts. I'm going to close my little filter pane over here on the side. I'm going to expand this out a little bit just so you can see it a little bit better. So up here on screen, this is usually the first step. Now, this step is usually done not at the individual user level, but somebody that's responsible for the compensation planning process, or maybe it's somebody in the HR and payroll department. This is where, if you're going to do detailed calculations on your benefits and your taxes, you're going to put in things like, what are your rates for that? So as you can see here, I'm tracking things like federal unemployment, provincial unemployment, social security, workers' comp, health insurance, dental insurance, and some other items here, right? Your list is going to be completely up to you and what you have in your organization. But here you can see that we're tracking things that are calculated a little bit differently. Some are on percent of wages, some are a flat rate per month, others are a flat rate per pay period. Others might be, a unit piece or what have you. We're allowing you the ability to put in your rates. So what is the rate, like in this example, per wage? And is there a maximum, whether that be yearly or monthly or pay period? Again, all of this will be configured based on your thing. So you get these numbers in, and this is what allows you to do kind of a whole lot of what ifs kind of thing. So if you want to do one budget run and you're going to do it at 4%, but okay, what happens if this number becomes 5%? Then you can actually see the numbers in that area without having to go through all the different employees, all the different things. It'll cycle through as required, right? Or what happens if, we bump up our level of retirement plan contribution to 3%. That's a very common one I see organizations playing with as they go forward. So what I've done is I put my numbers in, now I've got them into the system, great. I save that. These are now available and reusable by every other person working with compensation, whether or not you want to let them just reference them or actually edit them. Now, some of you may have this requirement, some of you may not, okay? But I do want to point out that it's fully supported. We give you the ability to handle things like allocation. So if you have different business units, different cost centers, different departments, different locations, different projects, programs, whatever the case may be, and you are allocating your people across them such that my salary gets split across multiple cost centers, departments, locations, what have you, we support that concept. So what you can see here up on screen is we're giving you the ability to put in things by these employees. You see it switches colors so you know. So this employee splits time between the corporate and the service, or their salary goes between those two. This person is corporate and then production. This person is corporate finance, IS, and production and manufacturing, right? So this person is split 60-40, then 50-50, 25-25, 10 and 40. Again, I'm doing on a percentage. You could do it based on hours. You could do it based on some other drivers as well. But some of the things that we also help provide, you can see now this user is allocated 50% and 40%. So they are under allocated. Or if I put in 70 here, they're still going to be over allocated. So we give you these kinds of checks and balances that you don't necessarily have in straight Excel, because we ensure that people are fully allocated. They're not under allocated, they're not over allocated. This is, again, part of us giving you that control that you don't necessarily have with just straight Excel by itself. And again, I'm just allocating across departments. This could be across departments, across locations, or across locations, or across departments and locations, or across projects. Again, it's how you're set up in your organization. We're very configurable for that. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how it pertains to things like one way to set up for salary employees versus hourly type employees. And again, all very configurable to how you might want these things to work. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here so you can see this a little bit better here. But what you can see here is I've gone ahead, if I open up my filter pane here for my salary, I've pulled back all the employees that are in the corporate home department, okay? And again, you can tag them different ways. Now, as a user, security would also kick in. So if I don't get to see data for anyone in the corporate department, it wouldn't show up for me. Or I could go all the way down to the individual level. If I don't get to see Sydney Jordan's salary information, it won't even appear in the list when I open it up. But when somebody else opens it up, they might actually see it. Again, we've got a very, very, very tight security model, very important when it comes to compensation. But let's show you some of the type of functionality that we have here. So you can see here, I'm having the ability to control when employees start and when they leave. So as an example here, Emmett's going to run all the way January through December. Albert is going to know, but maybe Albert's retiring in June. And maybe Martha here might be out on maternity leave, is going to come back in March, but for whatever reason is then leaving at the end of September. Now we're showing you things like what their current yearly hours are and how many hours you might budgeting for them for the year. And this allows you to get at an FTE count. So if I went to 1880 here, or 1890, I think might be what we consider an FTE here or whatever. Can't remember what we've got for FTEs set up, almost something like that, right? So you have the ability to put in things like hours, which allows us to give you not only headcount reports, but also FTE type reports. So again, all of those kind of backup reports that you're looking when you're trying to figure out the compensation budget. Now, we're showing their current salary. You could hide it, you could show it. This can be fed to us from a HR and payroll system or your payroll provider, so you don't have to type this in. And I'm also giving the ability to do a salary increase. Now, again, I'm doing it as a percentage. You could do it as a dollar, completely up to you. And this is going to go in effect. We're going to put this one in May. And just so you see a very large increase, I'm going to put in 100%. This person's getting a great raise this year. And so now you can see what their ending salary is going to be. But let me scroll over here. What you'll see here is on the fly, we are automatically calculating what their total salary is going to be, what their insurance, all their taxes and benefits are going to come out to based on the rules that you have put into the system. If I expand out my salary here, you're going to see here that it goes 8,800, 8,800, 13,000, 88, and then all of a sudden, if you remember in May, that's where the raise kicks in. Well, why is this not equal month to month? Well, we're also taking in the ability to calculate this all based on the number of pay periods. So in my setup, I've got 2 pay periods, 2 pay periods, 3 pay periods, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Again, yours would be whatever you set up. This is really important to be able to support this kind of concept if you're ultimately using this to drive at cash flow projections as part of the bigger budgeting and forecasting process. You can also see over here that because this other employee, Albert, is leaving in June, right? Their salary cuts off in June and there's nothing else calculated. And then because this one employee was coming back and then leaving again in September, we've automatically taken that into account. So no longer are you just calculating for the full year, you're getting far more detailed information at a more granular level, if that's what you want. And again, instead of this being an employee, this could be a position, and you could have a field here that talks about quantity of people at that position. So it doesn't have to be employee level budgeting. But now if I look at things like unemployment insurance, you're gonna see here we're automatically calculate, but also again, taking into account number of pay periods per year. But if you remember from the first screen, my cap was $4,000 as the yearly cap for this type of benefit or this tax, okay? So now we've automatically done the calculation here, but we've capped it out at $4,000 for you. So again, you're not overestimating what you're gonna have to pay. And again, we're taking into account what months they're working. So again, you've got that great level of granularity across all of your different budgets and things. And this data will automatically feed the greater financial model. So if you're doing expense budgeting to ultimately get in a P&L type budget, right? These numbers here will aggregate up and feed the appropriate salary GL accounts for wages, hourly wages, salary wages, for your different benefits, depending on what your mapping rules are. So we handle all of that for you as well. So that kind of gives you an idea for salary. Other things that people put in here is the ability to adjust different benefits based on if you're union or non-union. That's a very common thing that we hand as well. So if you're a union employee, you might get certain benefits. If you're a non-union, you might get different benefits. We also support the concept, because I get these questions that people ask, certain benefits may not kick in until you are at the organization for a certain amount of time. Those are things that we can handle as well. Depending on where your employee may be located, certain taxes may come into play. So as an example, something like a transit tax. If you're living in the city, you get hit with the transit tax. If they are not living in the city, they do not get hit with the transit tax. Different workers' comp rates based on their role in the organization or based on the state or province that they are in. So again, you can have those different kinds of rules as well. We also support the concept, very similar, but hourly as well, with a couple different changes that people like to do with hourly. So again, with the hourly, people being able to put in things like start and end periods, right? We can also support with hourly if you want to, if you hire seasonal work, right? So we only need people for these weeks throughout the year. That kind of concept we also support as you go forward. But here we're showing what are the hours that they're currently at, and then what are their weekly hours. And again, this could be one of your drivers. So what constitutes an FTE? So if I now am at 30, I'm a 0.86. If I'm 35, I am a 1.0 FTE. So again, rules that you base. What is their current hourly wage, right? And then are they going to get a raise this time? Now again, you could put in dollars here or percents. So if I put in a 5%, that's going to go into effect here in May, right? And now it's going to show you their adjusted hourly wage at the end of the day. And again, much like the other way when we were doing salary, it's automatically going to calculate what their wages are each month, taking into account, how you're breaking it down with, pay periods or what have you. Really not so much an issue with hourly when you have different pay periods, but again, showing you we support that capability also if they're going to leave the organization. And again, all the taxes and benefits can be calculated for you as well. So we have you that great capability to not just salary, but also hourly, union, non-union, different roles, different locations, different benefits, different tax, individuals or by position. We're all very, very robust in that area when it comes to calculation. Now, at the end of the day, we also, as I was talking earlier, allow you to do that allocation. So I'm just running a report right here that shows you for every individual employee, as an example, these are their hourly, and this is their, I've got hourly and salary here, right? So this is their salary by month that you can see unallocated, pre-allocated, but then also being able to run some reports that show you, okay, this is the different charges that we're doing to each of the individual employees. So if I had to go back up here, and I'm going to zoom in here a little bit for you, right? So if I look at Emmett, right, $8,800 for January, well, he was broken down 60-40. Well, right there, we've got the different breakdowns that you need for those different items for those employees, right? So we're giving you all that you need to do for all of these different kind of things, and we're showing you, so if I go corporate here, then I scroll down, you'll see the different departments and so forth. So all of that detailed information available to you, right? Now, other things that I haven't really talking to you about that we give you the capability of doing, right? And I'm going to put in some things here. You can actually add notes. So up here, if I want to add notes and explain why this person is leaving or what they're going into, coming back from, we give you that ability to add annotations that are stored in the database, and it travels with the data as it goes forward. We give you complete audit trails. So again, as people are changing the numbers, you're going to be able to see how they've changed over the course of time, who's changed the numbers, who's put them in, and so forth. Okay, so you've got all of those kind of information in here. We give you a series of data tools that allow you to do bulk manipulations of your numbers based on different rules that you've put in, so you don't have to go one at a time. So all of that is capable as well. We give you the ability to drill back to source data if you want to see it. So being able to see drilling into different data and so forth. These are all functions that we have within TrueSky that can be used with compensation or any other kind of budgeting and forecasting type process. So that kind of gives you a flavor for the kind of things that we do for compensation planning. I'm going to go back in and show some wrap-up slides, and then we'll open it up for any kind of questions. So just to reiterate the kind of things that you can do with TrueSky. Well, again, financial budgeting, compensation, obviously what we've just been going through here today, sales and revenue forecasting, expenses, operational planning, CapEx, project costing, project revenue. Again, any kind of budget reporting that you want to do, including, full-blown compensation planning, FTE, headcount, income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, KPIs, and dashboards, all within TrueSky. So what does our solution give you at the end of the day? Where you're going to get all of the strengths of Excel. Its flexibility, its calculations, its presentation layer, and the ability that you can get high user adoption. But you're going to get things that you don't have with Excel by itself that we bring in. We're going to give you database-driven and centralized data, approvals, security, audit trails, all of our productivity tools, integration with your source data and our build once design. At the end, you get an enterprise solution. You get one version of the truth, centralized control, actionable information. We're going to reduce risks, and we're going to help you avoid surprises. So you're going to benefit from the power of Excel, and you're going to lose that painful merge process. You're going to get reduced administrative cost, and you're going to lose having to juggle all those different spreadsheets and bad links. You're going to get direct integration to source data when possible, and you're going to lose that errors that comes from manual manipulation of data. We're going to give you meaningful information, and we're going to take away those unwanted surprises. So if you'd like to learn more and to talk about how TrueSky and compensation planning might work for you in your organization, up on the screen is our contact information. Just shoot us an email, info@TrueSky, or go out to our website. There's also a place before you drop off to request more information. I'm going to go now to answer some of the questions that we have. But again, before you drop off, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch our presentation. I hope you found a couple things that you might find useful, the kind of things that we can do. But with that, let me go some questions. All right, so the one question that we've got is, can you budget by both employee or position depending upon the department? Yes, that is certainly supported. So we have some organizations that do just that, right? So they have a lot of, for most of their departments and so forth, they have salary employees, right? And again, they're with them throughout the year, right? So it makes sense to do it on an individual basis. But then they have a couple departments that are very heavily seasonal based. And they're only working through a couple of months throughout the year. So, and they really don't even know who those people are going to be because there's a huge turnover in that area. So for those kind of things, they do that position based. So the rest of the organization is done on a individual based, but for those couple of business units, it's only position based because of their business model. They put in the position, number of people, and they do that. They also calculate benefits slightly different because none of those people are going to be with them long enough to ever cap out on benefits. So yes, we support both of those, and I hope that answers your question for that. Another question we have talks about payroll providers and getting data from, I won't say the name of the provider, but you probably all know of them, whether it be an ADP, a Ceridian, Paychex, whatever. So most of those organizations do not allow direct integration into their systems, okay? We would love it if we did, because as long as we can get our data, our grubby little fingers into the data, we can integrate with it. But for those payroll providers, we usually take an export file. So they generate an export file, and we have a tool that allows us to bring it in. So it is one little extra step, but it does prevent you from having to manually rekey all of that information each budget cycle. So we do take away a lot of that effort for it. We also have another question. Are we a hosted solution or on-premise solution? So we provide both. So TrueSky can be deployed as an on-premise solution within your organization, okay? So if that's how you like to deploy apps, great. You can deploy TrueSky on-premise. We also offer TrueSky in the cloud. So if you're looking for a hosted solution, we offer that as well. It's the exact same application. You don't give up anything. So go with what makes the most sense for your organization for how you like to run your applications, whether it be the cloud or on-prem. We've got you covered for both of those. All right. So those seem to be the questions that I have. I'll stay here for just another minute to see if we have any other questions. But again, I thank you for your time. All right, so again, no more questions. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the presentation again. Thank you for your time and have a great rest of the day.